Greetings and welcome everybody to the Beers and Bodyslams podcast. Sitting across from me is the man. If you don't get no respect to this man, you're gonna get these hands. Good old JB.
Sitting to my left, he is our little slice of avocado toast, Mr. Fluffy.
Ooh, really?
Yes, really.
And sitting across from me,
You're an avocado.
I'm an avocado.
Toast.
I'm toast. Sitting across from me, I'm toasted.
Delicate.
That's toasted. This is our second episode, so I'm as usual. I am toasted. Sitting across from me is the man who once took a flying burrito from Tito Santana.
Olé.
Irish. God, I used to love when Bobby would say that. Like, oh, he's gonna give him the flying burrito. Do you know how much crap you would get now if you said a Mexican wrestler was giving somebody the flying burrito?
He wouldn't made it through the broadcast.
And he said it every week.
I thought that was his porn name.
The flying burrito? No.
All right. Well, guys, as you can tell, we have a very interesting show. The first beer is kicked in. The second beer is not going to be any better. It's stout. It's dark.
Yeah. It's 9%.
It's 9%. That's going to be great. We have a good show. What we're talking about is finishing moves and why the WWE seems to not be protecting them. So we're going to talk about, what's going on with the finishing moves nowadays. Has their time passed? Are they just like regular moves now? Or is there some higher logic to it? We're going to get into that. Maybe some of our favorite finishing moves.
Famouses?
Maybe some of the ones that we thought really suck, like, I don't know, the Hogan leg drop. And we have a pretty good beer we're going to talk about when we come right back.
Awesome!
This is the Beers and Bodyslams podcast
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
with your host, Mr. Fluffy.
Hello, ladies.
Good old JB.
Booty-O's! They make sure you ain't booty.
And the Irish O'Leary.
There's only one word to describe you, and I'm gonna spell it out for you. A-A-W-F-T!
This is the only podcast bringing you craft beer and pro wrestling that really matters.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, E-Generation X proudly brings to you its WWF Tag Team Champion of the World, the Road Dogg Jesse James, the Badass Billy Gunn, the new.
And that's the bottom line, the Stone Cold said so.
I had to get that one out early. What are we drinking, Fluffy?
We are drinking from the Infinite Ale Works.
Infinite.
And I'm trying to look at where they're made. Hold on. I was rolling the bottle in
DeLand?
Ocala.
Oh, Cala.
So we moved from DeLand to Ocala.
we're moving on up.
We're moving on up. We're moving from redneck to
Slightly less redneck.
Slightly less redneck.
More old, slightly less redneck.
We are drinking their Into the Dark Roast.
Into the dark.
The Dark Roast. Their Imperial Coffee Stout.
Or Thursday night at Gold Dust House.
Yes. It's a 9% Imperial Stout.
Yes, he is.
It is strong. It is like
long and about to get my friction on.
It is like Irish likes it. Strong and loud.
And black.
And black. It's dark and strong, just like Irish likes it.
It's just like I like my women.
Oh,
strong and black. Anyway.
It's a good beer, though.
Yeah, I'll tell you that
We've
talked about like Cigar City, and no disrespect to those guys. Love their beer. Love to have you on the show. But like their coffee porter has this aftertaste that's it burns a little bit. Not like burns like tequila, but it burns a little bit. There's an aftertaste. It's kind of like
spiciness.
Yeah, a little bit that I find off-putting. So I'm not a big fan of it. This has the same concept, except it's not off-putting, but it definitely makes you aware that you've had it.
Oh, you definitely cannot forget this beer.
No, you cannot. Once it's in, yeah.
I took a couple sips. I got to slow my roll. Get You know how you go swimming and you get out of the pool, you had like the lights have like little white rings around them.
Yep.
Like I was like looked up and I was like, oh hell, what the hell's going on?
Well, this is what happens when you drink
I
a
was like,
okay.
whoa,
So
slow
just so
down,
everybody
Kevin.
knows the way we do the show, we do 2 episodes back to back. We release them on different days.
Yep.
The beer before this was the Persimmon Hollow. That was 7%,
7.1.
and that will get you going. And now we immediately dived into a 9%er.
This will get you on the couch.
So pretty much at the end of the show, when we're talking about how much we like the Olympics and we forgot about wrestling altogether, you'll
know
understand
why.
why. Just move on with it and just hit fast forward. We'll be fine. We'll be back next week. But,
Yeah, buddy. Well, unless we have 2 strong beers next week.
That's right.
It's not
we
so
should
bad.
try and one up each other and see who can bring the 2 highest alcohol content beers.
Oh, don't do that.
Don't.
'Cause I'll bring mead. I will go out and get mead. I will screw you all up.
Oh
because
my God.
I have meads
That
that are
would be
like
awesome.
19, 20% that I know of that I can bring tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
20%?
Oh, yeah.
Oh no.
Mead?
Mead, 20%.
Where?
Wow.
Viking Blood is one of them. That's 18. I had one before that was 20.
Wow.
No, I've had some.
You start your car with that.
I've had some Belgian Duvals that were up in that range, but not that heavy.
Oh,
You can't make those in the United States.
Yes, you can. If you go mead, you can because it's not considered a beer. It's considered a wine, and you can go
You been holding
big
out on us?
and evil. So,
All right, so here's the thing. Here's how this whole thing got started. I'm going to go ahead and do the intro.
Why are you? I was
Bitch
going
about-
to do it.
Well, you're bitching about, I will bring us some meat. Blah, blah,
No,
blah.
you started it. Okay, so what we're talking about this week is we're talking about finishing moves.
So we see whose show this really is. This is what
That's
we're-
right. God damn it. We're talking about finishing moves.
Break your iPhone. See what happens.
I just put my phone nipple in. Leave my phone nipple alone. We're talking about finishing moves and really specifically why the WWE does not protect them anymore. And this specifically came from this week's Raw.
Now, what does that mean for those uninitiated?
A finishing move or not protecting them?
Not protecting a
them.
finishing mood.
People kicking out of them.
Thank you.
That's exactly because this week on Raw, we had it in the same match we had happen twice. The Miz kicked out of an AA from John Cena. And then Cena kicked out of the skull crushing finale from The Miz.
Yeah, anything Cena can do, anything Miz can do, Cena will try to do better.
Yeah. And it brings up the idea of the finishing move used to be the end all,
The finishing
be all,
move.
and it really meant its name. When you pulled off your finishing move, the match was over.
Yeah.
You could take 3 minutes to crawl to your opponent to pin them, and they were still dead.
Yeah, but let's look at some of the finishing moves from the past. An elbow drop off the top rope.
Yep.
Yes.
Let's look at, we'll talk about super kicks specifically, but super kicks were, leg drops were.
Or the Rude Awakening.
Rude Awakening. Lariats.
The shake, rattle, and roll.
Yeah. Lariats. Lariat from hell.
Yeah.
You know, you had moves that once they were put into practice, the match was done. Not so much anymore.
The Tombstone.
Tombstone pile driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the thing is they no longer protect these. They become just moves. They're not what they used to be. Are you okay?
Yeah. I'm getting hammered. Go ahead. Keep
Okay.
talking. Don't mind me. Keep moving forward.
But I'm saying is they're not what they used to be,
Sooner the
That's
better.
apparently not.
and that they are now just part of the move set, and they're not the finish of the match. Which I wonder if it's a product of they want to keep the matches interesting because wrestler A pulls out his finisher doesn't necessarily mean the match is over.
Well, wrestling isn't what it was 20 years ago. I mean, kayfabe is dead. So I mean, the business is evolving and changing. So like, you know, what we're used to seeing is not going to be the norm anymore.
Right.
So it's a finisher. Yeah, if you're facing, you know, Apollo
A
Crews.
jobber.
And then
No offense to Apollo, but you
James
know,
Ellsworth.
he hasn't gained that status yet. So
the Ultimates, they don't call them finishers anymore. But they used to call them that.
Signature moves.
Now they're
Yeah.
signature moves.
yeah.
Well, and the reason they call them signature
well,
moves
it can't be a
is
finisher if you don't pin them.
right.
So,
The reason they call them signature moves is because that's what they call them in gaming. Signature moves.
yeah,
And you can have multiple signature moves
Correct.
because you can have a setup because
exactly.
Roman Reigns.
Be careful what you say, boy, because you done this
Has-
in the last pay per view.
If you think about
last podcast.
has
I'll tweet your apology.
has a
for you.
signature move of the Superman punch is not his quote unquote finisher. That is his setup move to the spear,
Yeah.
which is technically his finisher.
Yes.
So now you have guys that have multiple signature moves,
Right.
but none of them are really
Finisher moves.
finisher moves.
Well,
it makes no sense.
There's two things at play here. We talked about this a little bit off air. First one is it's a byproduct of the Young Bucks generation of wrestlers.
Yep.
Because if you look at some of the work that the Bucks did, like on PWG or Ring of Honor and stuff, Kevin Kelly's super kick and their super kick party, and the Being the Elite, the song Super Kick Party. I mean, they've made it a big deal, and it's lost a little bit of its shine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second thing that's at play is the wrestling matches have evolved a little bit to where false finishes are the thing you want. Like at the last pay-per-view, oh gosh, I can't remember the match it was, but there was false finish after false finish after false finish, and it was a great match. Oh, I know what it was. It was NXT. It was Andre Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano. And it was like a 15-minute match with 5 minutes extra of nothing but false finishes.
Yeah.
And, that's when you get to This Is Awesome, Fight Forever, all that stuff. And that waters down the finishing moves because, you can take the finisher 4 or 5 times, but it's when both wrestlers are completely spent. They've got nothing left in the tank, and then out of nowhere, super kick, and then that's when the wrestling match ends.
Well, that's the Lesnar mentality right now. Is he'll beat the crap out of you, but when he finally pulls out the F5, it's usually that's about the only finisher left that I can think of that truly is being used.
People are
as
kicking
a
out of
finisher.
that now.
Yeah.
But now people are kicking out of that. Yeah.
Well, you know why that most people aren't kicking out of it because it doesn't go well for you backstage if you do.
Yeah. or Braun Strowman will never.
But is this good though?
Accidentally mess up again
Yeah.
in the match.
But is this a good thing? Is this good for the product or is this bad for the product? That's the question. Is do we need? Wrestling is based off the idea of they're not normal people. They're characters. I don't want to say superheroes, but they're that idea. They're more than just normal people. And the idea of having a signature move that you can finish, that you have to set up for, and that you can pull out to beat somebody, I always thought builds the mystique of that wrestler. But the fact that now you can pull that move off and that person kicks out sort of defeats the purpose of having that move.
You got to have the unpredictability. Like you can't, because if you're watching a match and somebody hits their finisher, then it can't automatically be over because then you've given. I mean, it's done. You know what I mean? So why at that point just stop losing? Stop paying attention to it.
Right.
Whereas, and I wouldn't say that doesn't really happen for everybody, but the big matches, your top guys, they're going to kick out of a quote unquote finisher because number one, it helps to make them look stronger. Even though it may weaken that finisher, it helps their opponent look good because, he kicked out of an AA. He's superhuman,
right?
Quote unquote. And it just it enhances the opponent,
right?
Just as much as it may take away from that finisher, it enhances the opponent's credibility.
But something else it does is it makes wrestlers who are kind of set in their ways, they have to elevate their game, or they don't. Case in point, the difference between, God, I can't believe I'm saying this, the difference between a Randy Orton and a John Cena, 2 wrestlers who have been at it for a long time.
Yep.
Cena, let me start with Randy Orton. Randy Orton's moveset has not changed.
Nope.
His finisher has been, always will be an RKO.
Yep.
The only thing interesting about the RKOs now is when they happen out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's it. Randy's got nothing. He's got the whole double-fisted pounding on the ground Viper crazy bullshit that he does. And that's really it. But then you look at Cena. Cena's moves have been, for years, back and forth, 5-knuckle shuffle, AA, or he had one other move.
STF.
No, STF. He had the STF. That was his last new move, was the STF.
Yeah, the submission move.
Right, the submission move that's a crippler crossface. Anyway, so he did that move forever. And then when he started doing this U.S. Championship Challenge, he started upping his game. And that's when he started doing the second rope, jump stunner thing that he did.
Yep.
He added that move and he added a couple other moves.
Well, he also did a modified AA sometimes off the second rope or the second turnbuckle. Or
so you look at somebody that's, he's having to elevate. If he wants to stay relevant, Cena's got to elevate himself a little bit. So that finishing move blaseness that we've all gotten to, he stepped up. I can't believe I'm defending John Cena. and he's done something
you're
with
cut
it.
off, by the way.
Then you look at somebody like Randy Orton, the reason Randy's boring is because he's either face or he's heel, and it's the same crap no matter what he does.
Well, even the RKO out of nowhere doesn't have the impact it used to have because you're just kind of like, great.
But think about it, this isn't new. I mean, this didn't just start happening. I mean, you can go back to Hogan Warrior when the Warrior kicked out of the leg drop.
Yeah.
You know, nobody kicked out of
Right.
that. You know what I mean? So like,
But
this
that
is not.
was-
This
but-
is a.
But
first
that
time
was a rarity. That was a rarity at
But
that
even in the
point.
'90s, it happened. People kicked like Razor kicked out of the super kick from Shawn Michaels before. Like it didn't happen as often. But this isn't like they're not setting in groundbreaking stuff by doing this now. But like I think it's just more to enhance the opponent and just to get more or get less predictability within the match than where as if Randy Orton hits an RKO, then it's automatically over. Whereas somebody kicks out, you're like, oh shit, that wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
And it just adds more intrigue to the finish.
Sure. Well, that's where I think that's where somebody like, okay, you defended John Cena. I'm going to say something. You're going to look at me like I'm nuts. Where somebody like a Roman Reigns has a huge advantage because technically he has two finishers that he can use because you can hit somebody with a Superman punch. They can kick out. Then they can kick into the next gear to hit the spear.
Yeah.
And if you use a finisher like that, I'm fine with it that way.
Sure.
Like, I don't mind having multiple moves that you can pull out, or even like a John Cena. I don't mind him having either the AA or the STF because depending on the opponent and the match and what he's doing, he's going to use one or the other.
Yeah, but you look at somebody like an AJ Styles. AJ Styles has his 4 or 5 signature moves that he pulls out.
Yeah.
Doesn't do the Styles Clash nearly as much anymore because James Ellsworth pretty much put that one on the kibosh. But the thing is,
he does the top rope elbow.
He does the top rope elbow. He does the wackadoo thingy that he does, and he does his other little finishing moves. I can't remember their names. But the thing is, AJ's got a laundry list of finishers that he hasn't even pulled out of the bag yet.
Yeah.
And then every now and then he'll pull one out. Like they did a about 4 or 5 months ago, he was wrestling, I want to say Sami Zayn, but it could have been Kevin. They did a modified Canadian Destroyer, like 2/3 of a Canadian Destroyer out of nowhere. And it was just like, holy crap. And then you forgot, oh yeah, he's AJ Styles.
Yeah, he can do whatever he wants.
And that's what he does. He does his top rope, crazy wackadoo punch. He does the Pele kick, and he does his couple other things. And that's all he's had to do because WWE's not making him do anything else.
Yeah.
But then the big matches, people are always kicking out of it, and then he'll pull something out of the bag.
And I'm fine with that. And the other thing is I think the art we've also lost is the announcers don't sell them as much as they used to. It's not as much like, okay, I know I use Michael Cole as an example. When Cole would scream for Cena, when he would do the AA, Cole would go nuts. Oh, it's the AA. Sort of like Corey Graves does with Shinsuke and the Shinkasha. It's a great move.
Kinshasa.
I love how he does that. And we don't get that anymore. If Miz does the skull crushing finale, the announcer goes, "Oh, there's the move." Yeah, you're like, well, "No, where's the excitement?"
Well, that's probably the most kicked out of a finisher that there is on the roster right now.
Right.
Yeah, but even it's like you want that excitement, like you want the announcers to sell it because I think that helps. Even if they do kick out,
right?
If the announcers are selling it more, it makes the kick out more impactful,
right?
So I think protecting is not necessarily not kicking out of it. It's also making it seem like it says, "Oh my God, he pulled off his move."
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So let's look at a couple of moves that are protected. The Kinshasa is protected.
Mm-hmm.
The Go to Sleep from Hideo Itami.
Yep.
Is protected.
Yep.
What else is protected?
The Bailey to Belly.
No, because she did it off the top rope the other day.
Oh, that's right. She kicked out.
And she kicked out. The bank statement is people fight out of it, but once she locks it in the middle of the ring.
I guess the figure eight is because no one.
Figure eight.
I haven't seen anybody. I can't think of anybody who's gotten out of that move on the main roster out of that move. Once she's locked it in, Charlotte's locked it in. I can't think of anybody who's getting out of it. On the Huluva kick, Sammy, if he hits it, he gets a win.
Yeah, I guess.
Because I haven't seen anybody kick out of that one.
Yeah, that's true. So there's really only
Sister
a handful.
Abigail, people have kicked out of. The Spear been kicked out of. Trying to think of it. Maybe
Rusev's when he had his little what do you call
The
it?
Accolade.
Accolade.
Yeah. Well, no, it's Cena fought
Cena's
his
the
way
only
out.
one.
Cena's the only one that fought his way
Yeah.
out of it.
Alistair Black's stupid knee to the head.
Yeah,
to
but
kick
that's
out of that.
I'm not nothing against him, but I'm looking at main roster because you get moves
I
that
get that.
move up to the main roster and they kind of develop on their own. Sister Abigail has been kicked out of several times.
That's what she said.
Multiple times. God, I'm trying to think.
Just trying to think of a move that somebody hasn't kicked out of. I mean, for the longest time, I remember that.
I don't think there isn't. There is one. I don't think there is one that hasn't been kicked out.
Yeah, I think that every move, depending on the
So far, Rude's DDT hasn't been kicked out.
That Styles class hasn't been when he's used it.
Yeah. I think that it depends on the size of the match. Like if it's a WrestleMania match, they'll tend to kick out of those because they want the matches to be a little bit more
Dramatic.
They want the holy shit chance.
I
They want
agree
the
with
oh
that.
my gods, and it's not the Bucks' fault. But do we blame the Young Bucks? I shouldn't say the Young Bucks. It seems to be something that is more prevalent in independent wrestling.
Yeah.
Because when you watch any of the stuff from PWG or Ring of Honor stuff, I mean, they're kicking out of moves left and right. It's
I think
monkey fest.
Well, I also think it's part of the independence is that they look at their shows as show to show. They're not trying to show continuation. So a finishing move doesn't have as much impact in that this is because you're in this city one week, you're in this city the next night, you're in this city the next night. You may not know all the move set. So you just want a big impactful move to finish the night. Finisher need nothing. Whereas WWE, you have the same guys every week. So having that signature move as a finisher, the crowd connects with that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, but that's the problem with it a little bit is that I think they're trying. I agree with you. I think it might be a little bit of the independence thing.
They didn't connect to Seth Rollins when he was doing that. What do you call it? The blackout.
Yeah.
What the move where he wrapped somebody around his? It was basically a stolen move from New Japan.
Yeah.
And now he's doing the curb stomp again.
Oh yeah, it was the Rainmaker.
yeah.
That's what
Now he's doing the curb stomp,
Yeah, he's back doing the curb stomp, which
I don't know how he got that one approved.
nobody should be kicking out of the curb stomp.
Exactly.
I mean, you just pounded your head into the ground. How are you going to kick out of that?
Yeah. So,
Concussion protocol.
but it's that question of has the age of the quote unquote finisher passed?
Oh yeah, kayfabe's dead. Why not?
Because we've transitioned from pro wrestling to sports entertainment.
So now it's the age of the signature move.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
where we're at.
All right. So that's the thing is so if you're a new wrestler and you're developing your moves, you want multiple moves. I think that's where
you have to.
you have to have multiple things. I agree with you.
That was Cena's criticism. He had the 5 moves of doom. Remember that's what they used to.
Five
They used to
moves
mess.
of doom.
Who labeled him that? Was it The Rock or somebody? Maybe the Miz. It was either the Miz or the Rock. And they said he had 5 moves of doom. Is what they called him.
If the Rock's saying that, that's the pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah, because he has like 2.
It may have been the Miz. Somebody.
Yeah,
recently.
probably the Miz. So, do we have impactful finishing moves anymore?
Well, I think the F5 is still impactful.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think right now, visually and in fact, I think Strowman's running powerbomb still looks impressive. I think the Styles Clash can be impressive when they use it. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think beyond that because even you think about like Sister Abigail, it looks cool, but it's not impactful.
I like the curb stomp.
The curve stomp is fun.
Um,
Trying to think of who else. I still like the skull crushing finale. I think that's a fun move to watch be set up, only because it takes the Miz the moment to get it in position, and you know it's coming.
Yeah.
I like the what's Jericho's cross? What's it called?
The wall, not the
Walls
walls.
of Jericho.
No, it does it from the front. The cross code breaker.
Oh, the code breaker. Yeah, the code breaker is fun too.
Yeah.
But even that's is sort of a victim of the times because people have kicked out of that.
Somebody needs to bring the unpretty.
No, I just
back.
mean like visually.
The pump up power bomb.
Yeah.
That's a fun move to
Yeah.
watch be set up.
Yeah.
Because KO throws him across the ring and then just. But even he doesn't use it as much as he used to.
No, I don't think people could take it like he used to. Like you want to do what to me? No, I don't think so, bro.
But it's an interesting way they're going, and I don't know. I maybe it's us being old that we miss that kind of thing.
I'll tell you one finishing move that I can't remember anybody kicking out. I think there have been people kicked out of it, but I don't remember doing it recently.
What?
When Triple H puts the Oh, what the hell does he call his move?
Not the pedigree.
The pedigree.
You think
People
so?
kick out of that, but lately, every time he hits a pedigree, it's a win.
Well, because
It's Triple H.
Well, that's
He hasn't
because
won in like 2 years.
well, that's because he doesn't wash down there properly, and he knocks them out before he hits it. That's why. That's a completely different situation.
Truth.
So before we move on, because we're going to talk about finishing moves, we're going to talk about some of our favorites and some of our least favorites. But before we move on to that, I do want to thank the Infinity Ale Works for your Into the Dark roast. Thanks for making this episode make absolutely no sense whatsoever.
Hey, we're doing good.
We appreciate
good.
the fact that we love your beer. No, we're not saying it's a bad thing, but if you listen to this, please take this as a compliment that we're going to talk about whatever the hell we feel like now. So,
Guys, listen to this podcast. They're getting hammered on
they're
our
getting
beer.
hammered. They started talking about wrestling and they ended up talking about ballet. I have no idea where they went to. All right, so since we've talked a little bit about where we are now, let's talk about some of our favorite finishers and our least favorite finishers.
The Hogan.
Okay, well,
Guess we're gonna start with the least.
we'll do a little round robin. We've done that before. We'll go around the room. Do you want to start least, or do you want to start some of your favorites?
Oh, let's start with the favorites.
All right, so go ahead, Irish. Start.
Oh,
Tell me
crap.
one of your favorites. If not, I'll move on.
I think one of my favorite finishing moves still
is Into the Dark Roast by Infinity Ale Works. Does it finish you off?
Absolutely.
delete.
Oh.
The bow-legged wonder. I still think that the coolest finishing move is the Undertaker's Tombstone Pile Driver.
Yeah.
Yep.
When he puts his hands over the person and he
Yep.
sticks his tongue out. I don't want to see him do it now, but 20 years ago, good God, it was a devastating looking move.
Oh yeah, when he used to plant people with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still like the stunner.
Yep.
Back when the stunner was a stunner. Somebody needs to really do that one again.
See, and I'll think I don't mind the stunner. I was always a fan of the diamond cutter.
That was a good one.
But Diamond Cutter's an RKO, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I don't count the RKO. No, I'm saying because the stunner and the
Yeah,
RKO,
DDP had that going for.
the diamond cutter had it way before. He had an incredible. That was always a fun move.
Yeah. What do you got?
All right, what do you got? A couple. You got Irish or not Irish? Jamie,
Oh, yeah, Irish want to go again, huh?
Jamie, give me a couple.
One that I can remember, it wasn't even that it was that cool. It's just like I was young and I thought he was literally killing people. Was Yokozuna when he used to do the bonsai
Oh my
drop.
God.
And I was like young. I was like, oh my God, is he really gonna drop himself on his chest? Like he's gonna kill him. Like, and just visually not knowing, it was like the coolest thing ever.
Just once I wanted him to do it and drop down and go.
The frog splash.
He wore a
Eddie
muffler.
Guerrero was one
Oh
of
my
favorites.
gosh.
Eddie Guerrero frog
The
splash.
height he would get off of that
Yeah,
move.
that was pretty cool.
Did you see the night that he broke his arm doing it?
No.
Oh yeah, like it was like 2 or 3, maybe a month or 2. I don't know. My timing could be off. Right after the Radicals debuted, Eddie goes up there, does his move, and he pound the pavement so hard, and pound pavement. He hit the ring so hard, he was smacking the ring trying to get a big explosion, but he burst his. It was like,
Oh wow.
I mean, it's not like it flopped around like
Yeah.
Sid Vicious, but you could just tell, like he popped up and he was instantly like, "Hey, Chihuahua," it was bad.
Chihuahua.
Sorry,
You got another one?
it's really insensitive. I apologize.
Actually, I hadn't. But the first time I saw the Styles Clash, I was
Yeah.
like, "What in the hell is that?" I was like, "He's gonna break somebody's neck," but
It's a brutal
because
looking
I
move.
didn't watch him that much in TNA, so I didn't really see it that often. I had to YouTube it.
Yeah.
Somebody
Styles Clash?
told me about it. He's like, "You gotta check this out."
It's
I was
crazy.
like, "Oh shit, like, he's gonna kill somebody."
You
But-
got to go back and listen to Jericho's podcast when he has James Ellsworth on it,
Yeah.
and he tells the story of when he's like, "I'm going to take the Styles Clash," and he was a little nervous about it. And he said, "Look, dude, it's really simple. I'm going to get you up and move, and all you have to do is just keep your head back. Don't tuck
Yep.
it. Just keep
Yeah.
it back. It's counter to what they normally do.
Yeah.
Just lift your head up. It's no problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit it. I'm going to roll you over. It's not a problem." So he's like, "Yep." They practiced it. Did great.
Yeah.
And then when they went
now
to
he
do
got
it,
stage fright.
got
Rooted
stage
up.
fright, pulled his chin.
Damn
And
it,
at
broke
the-
his neck.
At last minute, AJ saved his life, and then he got more comfortable with it and took it off the stairs. Remember, he took it off the
Oh
stairs.
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
All right. So one of the prettiest finishers I remember, is Macho's elbow.
yeah.
A man, he would stand up on the top thing on the ring apron or stand up on the turnbuckle and put his hands above his head and just leap into the air,
Yeah.
and then get perfect form and come right across their throat.
I'll tell you.
immediately across their throat.
I'll tell you, Kairi Sane,
Yeah.
the little Japanese wrestler that came up from
Yeah.
NXT.
She's got a nice one too.
Hers is
That's who I was thinking
gorgeous.
about. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't
She-
remember which woman did it. But
she comes up and like her legs go way above her shoulders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she drops down. I'm like, how is she not murder? I mean, I know she weighs like 6 pounds, but I mean,
yeah,
how
she's
are you
literally
not
coming down like arm first.
how are you not murdering people?
Yeah.
How is that possible? Hers is pretty close
Yeah.
to as pretty as Macho's.
But Macho's was just pretty. I mean, just
brutal looking.
brutal. I mean, and he would just get up there and sail. And when he would come down, what he was good at was he would come down and make it look like his entire body weight was crushing this person's larynx. And that was what made it fun.
Yep.
Another one I always liked as a kid, or I shouldn't say kid, as an older teen or young adult, was the Razor's Edge from
That one was pretty cool. Yeah.
Razor.
Is
He
that
would,
the one where
he gets them up on his
his
back and then just throws them over. And then,
bombs?
yeah. That was always a fun one too. Which trivia note, that was originally the Diamond Cutter.
yes.
Because
Oh,
when
that's
he
right,
when
yeah.
he was in WCW with Diamond Allen Page
Vinny Vegas.
and Vinny Vegas. Well, no, he wasn't Vinny Vegas. Vinny Vegas was
Oh, he did.
Kevin Nash.
That's what
He was the Diamond Stud.
Oh, that's right.
And
okay.
and
Razor- I'm
DDP
thinking
was
Razor
his
Ramon.
manager, and that was actually quote unquote the original
Diamond
Cutter was that move. But it was just cool though because he would slide them off his back, slam their head down, then pin them. It was a great move.
I got two more if I could.
Yeah, go ahead. I got more.
One
too.
of them is and I know with all the tragedy and stuff, but it's watching. Oh my God, his name's totally
Chris Benoit.
no.
Oh,
al-
Snuka.
Although, yeah, Jimmy Superfly
Oh my
Snuka
God,
coming
he
off
used
the
to
top
fly.
rope,
Yeah.
doing his version of the
Yep.
frog splash, and then honestly, going completely out of WWE, we talked about it earlier, was a Canadian Destroyer. It's still my favorite.
One of the most impressive moves that ever. If you have never seen that move, watch on YouTube. I know JB, we played video for you of the Canadian
I couldn't
Destroyer.
believe that.
He watched it about a dozen times. He's
I
like,
couldn't believe that.
how is this happening?
It's a move that is impressive for two. Number one, it looks devastating as hell. But then if you watch enough wrestling, you start realizing that it's a move that actually takes two guys to move in sync at exactly the right moment and have confidence in each other to pull off that move.
Yeah.
It's insane to watch. You got more, JB?
I
you
remember
like?
you may not remember. Remember what's this joker's name? Too Cold Scorpio. He used to do that 450 splash.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, damn, that was pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, he landed that shit with regularity. I was like, it looked the same every time. You know what I mean? That was one I remember. I used to like. I was a big fan of the high flying finishers. It wasn't the 619 was all right. There was another one.
That's a move that's past its prime.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah,
619 makes
yeah.
no
He did
impact.
it at the
Because like
Rumble.
I mean,
was
like you're
what?
like 140 pounds.
Yeah.
You're not pulling a 260-pound man to the ropes. But that was one I was thinking of. Was Too Cold Scorpio, and there was another one I can't recall right off the top. But the figure four.
It's still a classic.
as a kid, just because how they used to set that up, like he would work on that leg the whole match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when he put it on, and we would like me and my friends, we would like wrestle. Like that's just what we did, and we would all mimic and try and put each other in figure fours to see who could quote unquote turn it over and reverse it and all that dumb crap.
You mean if you just turn it over, it hurts the other guy?
That was one of the.
Wait a minute.
That was one of the.
Made no sense.
That was one of the first finishers I can remember actually that I liked. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to bring up the first tag team finish we've talked about. The old Word Warriors.
Oh, that was by far the
device
best.
or is it a Doom device or what was it called?
Doomsday Device.
Yeah, Doomsday Device. Number one, the fact that you were up on the shoulders of a 6-foot guy, and then another 6-foot guy was jumping off the rope and clotheslining you as they both threw you
As
to
you
the ground.
backflip.
As you backflip on the ground. That was always a fun move to watch happen, whether it was in WCW or when they were the sort of version in WWE, they had it. But that was a brutal move.
Yeah, it's a good move.
Another move that I loved that was more theatrical than, and I'm going old school, I know, was the old shake, rattle, and roll from Honky Tonk Man.
Talk, man.
When he would lock it into the little butt shake and then they start rocking back and forth and then just flip you over. You know, he is the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time.
Oh,
You know,
without a doubt.
Without a doubt. And that move won him everything.
Yeah.
But that was such a fun move, especially for the time. You go back and watch that move, you realize it is a move of the time, but it is a fun move to watch.
Absolutely.
So, what are some of your least favorites? Let's go.
Irish been chomping at the bit for this one.
Let's go in. Let's talk about the ones that were like, how has that hurt you?
The People's Elbow.
Oh. I can't co-sign on any Rock hating on this
Simon
podcast.
No, I love
Simon
The Rock.
Rasty's The Claw.
I love The Rock. Don't say that. I love The Rock, but the People's Elbow is a horrible move.
The People's
It
Elbow
was.
was as dramatic and painful move as the Hogan leg drop.
Yeah, no, but the problem with the People's Elbow is at least the Hogan leg drop looked intimidating. When he would kick the arm across the person, then rip off his elbow pad, like going, "Oh wait a minute, let me take off this 3/4 inch thing of foam and make my elbow look more intimidating as I run across you twice, then go and then look like I'm in a seizure and then fall on you."
Yeah.
I love like the rock bottom. That was a good finisher.
Yeah.
The People's Elbow, crap.
But stop and think about all those moves from that age. So, I mean, the 5-knuckle shuffle is one of those.
Oh,
I mean, seriously, it's so bad that they have to like keep that camera angle tight
yeah.
because you can see him totally missing the head. But you talk about all those finishing moves back in the day. They're horrible. Yeah. They're absolutely horrible. That's why, like, for the longest time, wasn't Nia Jax using the thing where she flipped over the top rope and then came down with a leg drop? It was like, at least that looks like it has some velocity to it.
Yep.
Was she flipping over the top rope?
She was doing something.
I don't remember her.
Oh,
doing
no,
that.
no. She wasn't flipping over the top
No,
rope.
she wasn't doing
She was just
that.
walking 2 steps and then flipping.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she has done that recently.
What do you got, JB?
I'm trying to think off the top.
He's thinking.
Eye poke of doom.
I hated Mr. Sacco.
Oh, really?
I hated that.
Oh, yeah. That's a
It
cheesy
was
move.
so corny. Yeah, I didn't like it at all. Besides the fact that you're pulling it out from between your pants and putting it in somebody's mouth, but other than that, I just didn't think it did anything.
Can't be any worse than pancakes.
No, this is true.
Oh, I can come up with worse.
I
That
know
was a
you
bad
could.
finisher.
Yeah. Well,
When he was Mankind, it made more like when he had the little
the mandible claw. thing,
claw.
yeah.
It looked a little different, but when he was using Sacco, that was kind of stupid. to
But
me.
you go back onto the network and you start watching some of those like NWA and Mid South and all those.
There were
ones,
some bad
You start
ones.
seeing some of the worst. Like I said, the what was his name? Oh God, Van Rushke.
Baron von Ratsky.
Baron von Ratsky, the claw.
Yep.
You know, I'm like, seriously, you don't have enough crush strength, bro. Itty bitty arms going up against the dude's head. I'm like, sure, okay, whatever.
I got 2 words for you.
Suck it.
The Cobra.
That was bad. That's
Santino
along
Marella.
the same lines.
Pink. Like,
Yeah.
how does number one? Why he would hold his wrist and act like it was something, and then basically all he would do is like finger kiss you, Mwah. And then you would fall down.
True.
Talk about guys having to sell a horrible move. Like, how do you like that when you're like, yeah, by the way, you're going to lose Santino tonight, and he's basically going to poke you in the lip.
I gotta say, and I know that we're trying to stay with main roster, but they've stuck this finishing move on Aleister Black. His little finishing move is like a running knee thing.
Yep.
It just looks bad. When he did it, when we were watching, what was the show that we were at? Oh, we were NXT.
Yep.
WrestleMania weekend, Takeover Orlando, and he pulled that move out. We were all like, "What the hell was that? What just happened? What did he poke him in the eye? What was the deal?" It's just not a. It's not a really great move.
Yeah.
And all those knee strike moves to the head, unless they're, I got like the Kinshasa's believable, but a lot of those knee strike to the head moves, like the go to sleep thing, you got to time it right.
Well, even to go to sleep, I've never been impressed with the go to sleep. Like, I know CM Punk basically created, his mythos off of it, but
Yeah, but it was a Hideo Itami, but before he was a Hideo Itami,
yeah, but
that was his move.
But the GTS, I was always kind of like, I've never been impressed with it whatsoever.
Yeah,
Another one that I've never been impressed with was the Ultimate Splash by the Ultimate Warrior.
like the Stinger Splash.
No. The Stinger Splash was in the corner.
He would press him and then run.
He
the
would,
ropes and
yeah,
then,
remember, because that was at least in the corner, and it looked like it hurt. He would hold you up, then drop you, then run across
Especially
you,
jump on
and then
your back.
go, and then roll you over and pin you. I never.
Somebody as strong as he was, that was kind of a weak finish.
Yeah, that was a very weak finish. Like he should have had a lot more.
I got a lot more bad ones than good ones.
Yeah.
What else you got?
What else you got, bro?
The fuck
What's the funkin'?
no
The funkin'?
Funkadelics.
Naomi's little booty bump.
Oh my god!
Is that a finishing move though?
Yes, that's her finisher.
Yeah, I guess
Oh
it
my
is.
God, that's
where she
horrible.
jumps up
Yeah,
and
throws her ass in her face.
Yeah.
Hang on. Yeah, that's not a great finishing move. It could be a finishing move, but not for the same reasons that you're thinking.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Scotty Too Hottie, the worm.
Oh, I was gonna say the worm. That was a horrible
Oh
one.
my god.
That was god awful.
Got
over.
Well, talking about thing, you also had the stink face too. Let's not forget the stink
The
face.
stink face was
You know, because the fact that he would pull his tights even
I
tighter.
watched the old tape of that
Oh
the
my
other day
God.
where Vince was in the ring and The Rock was in there. Remember he thought Trish was gonna kiss her ass and she pulled pretend like she was gonna pull her thing down and then Rock was like, "No, I got something better for you." And then he brought Rikishi back.
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh, there's no way I could do that. Oh, I couldn't have did that."
oh my god.
I gotta
That was
say,
brutal.
any move that involves a lariat,
Yeah.
you know,
The
even the lariat from hell,
The
Luke,
lyric-
Luke
yeah.
Harper.
the Rainmaker,
Oh,
Luke
yeah.
Harper.
Oh yeah.
They're interesting looking, but the thing is they're only interesting if the guy can.
JBL used to have a good one.
Yeah, they're only interesting.
Yeah,
if
but
the,
only if the guy would flip over his arm.
Yeah.
right,
but I
if
mean,
the guy taking it makes it look.
He made it
painful.
look good though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, it's an interesting way we used to look at things. I mean, the finisher used to be a huge part of wrestling, and it's sort of gone away. And you know, it's become the signature move thing.
What do you think about the torture rack?
Oh my god!
I forgot about the torture.
The only
rack.
thing that used to impress me was he picked somebody really big and put him on it. I was like, oh, he deadlifted him like that. But other than that, that was pretty bad too.
Now we did have for a while,
and I used to like Lex Luger actually. Most people didn't, but I liked him.
I hated Luger. We did have for a while wrestlers that used the same finisher because we had the Scorpion Deathlock and the Sharpshooter, which are the same damn move.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got the sharpshooter, the clover leaf. You got all those moves that are basically the same move.
Yeah.
And to lesser and greater degrees. You know, it's not a finishing move, but the cannonball thing is starting to get over with me.
With
I'm
KO?
KO. Like,
Yeah, but that's not his finish. That's his setup.
I
though.
know, it's a setup move.
You know.
But
The 619 has become the same way. The 619 is not a finisher anymore for Ray. It's his setup move for whatever he's going to do.
okay, so let's flip over to the women's side for just a second. We've got the figure 8, which is a pretty devastating looking little move. Becky's got her disarmor. What's Alexa Bliss got?
She's got that little turn where she gets on the top rope and kind of twists in the
Yeah,
air.
she does the Bliss attack.
Oh, yeah, Twisted Bliss.
Yeah, Twisted
Sasha
Bliss.
has the best finisher, the bank statement by far.
Yeah. But there are a lot of
I don't know. Ember Moon from NXT.
Well,
got a pretty good
yeah,
finish.
that
When
one.
she
But
gets
I'm,
up there,
I'm
it's
just
gonna
thinking
be
main
fun.
roster, like you said.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's got the best one.
Asuka's got nothing.
No,
Asuka's got the
it's
little
just-
booty thing
she
too.
just beats the crap out of
hell
you.
out of people. Yeah,
I just like how Sasha, she does a little backstabber and then she rolls with it. I think that's pretty cool. How
yeah.
she's got the best one so far.
I agree.
But
Nobody
it's a lot of submission moves for the ladies, which is fine though.
Yeah.
It's building to their strength in that way. They don't have the big power move. except
Charlotte
for
used to
Nia.
have she uses the natural selection once in a while.
once in a great
Yeah.
while,
But she used it this past weekend. Somebody kicked out of it.
yeah,
Did she?
Yeah,
yeah. So all
That's right.
it happens.
Yeah, but it's an interesting.
I had
little
an
thought.
honorable mention. I didn't know which category to put it in. It was
ahead.
the lethal injection. Jay Lethal.
Oh, yeah.
He does a springboard and then it's kind of funky looking, but
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of visually appealing, but then again, it kind of looks corny at the same
The
time.
thing where he does a handstand and he pops
Yeah,
back.
and then he
That's
does
pretty good.
He does like the
I do lethal
RKO off of
injection.
that.
Yeah, I've seen AJ do it where he does kind of the same thing, but when he pops back, he flips the guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That's
I've
pretty
never
good
seen
too.
Yeah.
I've actually seen Lethal do that.
that. Yeah.
So, you know, if you want to see really interesting finishers, and it's Spot Monkey Fest, and I'm okay with that to lesser degrees, is watch some of the PWG ROH stuff. You know, go look at ROH best matches. You'll see it. You know, like Kenny, not Kenny Omega. I can't remember his name. He's got the not the go to sleep, but the Rainmaker.
Yeah.
That Seth stole.
Yeah.
It's horrible. He wraps him up like he's a ballet dancer, throws him out, and then brings him back and then clotheslines him. Well, there's no torque on it. It's a horrible looking.
It's a clothesline.
It's a weak ass clothesline.
Yeah.
Because you got to pull the guy in and then you got to hit him with it. And it's just,
No one uses the bear hug anymore as a finisher.
The bear hug.
Remember the bear hug?
Speaking of dumb.
Who's
At least that
was that Big John Studd?
Yeah.
Yep.
At least he looked intimidating. Like that looks scary at points.
So that TV show that I was telling you about earlier today, the bad guy, the Black Lightning, one of the bad guys in Black Lightning goes and finds his abusive father.
I'm so glad we're talking about stuff we talked about off the air.
And bear hugs him and breaks his back, and that's how he gets back at his father.
Awesome.
There we go.
Did Mark Henry do that for a while?
A little bit, yeah. Oh my God, the world's strongest slam too. That's another move that outlived its usefulness in any way.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's not forget that as much as I love him, the Tully Blanchard slingshot suplex.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you. Here's
bad.
here's a move that I've grown to hate.
Just flowing in my head.
The one that I've grown to hate is the angle walk.
Yeah,
angle walk.
Yeah,
The
Jack
ankle
Swagger ruined that one for me.
Yeah. Just twisting your ankle.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jack Swagger ruined that for me.
No, you got to say it
Kurt ain't
right.
gonna make it look bad.
It's Jack Swagger.
Isn't
Where
he
is he now? Where
Isn't
the hell did
TNA?
he show up? Did he show up in TNA?
yeah, he's over in TNA.
TNA?
That beer is good. Shut
When
up.
you're ready to put your beer down.
I would like to thank Infinity Ale Works. I would like to thank the Infinity Ale Works for your
your 18%.
Yes, for the Into the Dark roast, for making this episode make no sense whatsoever. When you're ready to put your beer down, because God forbid we drink anymore, because we won't be able to record ever.
Wow, really?
Yeah, that was a setup.
Beer? You're so dumb. You thought that was a good setup.
Make sure you head over to vintagepressing.com. Vintagepressing.com, where you can get drink coasters, luggage tags, phone cases, and more.
Make sure you visit us over at facebook.com/beers and body slams podcast. We've got a lot of social stuff over there. We got
Social.
Bite Me. We've got our video stuff you can check out as well. And come to beersandbodyslams.com. Find all of our great sponsors, our show archives, and links to all of our social stuff.
Follow us on Untapped. Don't ever drink these two beers that we profile back to back. You can follow me at GoodOLJB.
You can follow me at Mr. Fluffy.
And you can follow me at The Irish O'Leary.
Make sure you tune in next Thursday for our normal news show. We're going to talk about what's going on in the world of WWE. And then we'll be back on the following Monday for a topic that we'll figure out later, because we figured it out now.
I thought we're going to do underrated wrestlers.
We are? Is that what we're doing?
Well, we don't have to, but we should.
Okay, we're going to do underrated wrestlers.
Yes, that's my idea.
We're going to talk about underrated wrestlers. None of us will remember that topic by the time we get there, but hey, what the hell? We'll talk about that. But as always, make sure you get your pint glasses full and your body slam stiff.
You've been listening to the Beers and Body Slams podcast. Find us online at beersandbodyslams.com and on Facebook at facebook.com/Beers and Body Slams podcast. Until next time.
Have a nice day.